Welcome to Qdabra's weekly webinar. Today I'm very happy to do a repeat demo and webinar of a technique that we showed a couple of years ago, and we've actually improved it. And I have to say this is the first time that we've ever done a demo from within our bathing room. So hopefully everyone enjoys this demo webinar. I'm just kidding. We're not demoing this in our bathing room, but that's what the picture is. Kirby, can you go to the next slide, please? So today's webinar, we're really talking about how to take pictures and scale them to reduce the size of your forms and also to move them off of your form so that you can access them even without opening the form. And this is a technique that we've covered several times in the past. This is a new demo today. We've actually improved the technique to make it really easy for you to take this technique and apply it to your forms. In fact, Kirby has created a XML template part that makes it super easy, 10-15 minutes max, to add it to your form and do these cool things. So let's actually take a look at the demo. Kirby?
Okay, so here I have my phone screen. So I'm opening a sample form with the XTP in my phone. So here I'm gonna enter my name and I'm gonna attach a sample photo from my library. And let's try this one. And we can add another one by clicking on the add button here.
I'm not seeing the update, Kirby, on your screen yet.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, now I see a change. I don't see an image yet, though.
I'm not sure why it's not reflecting in my monitor.
Do you want to start off? We can try to start it again. We could switch to the desktop version.
Yeah, we can do the demo in the library, the actual library. So sorry about that. Let's try to open the form in our images form library via Forms Viewer. And
so we'll show the quick demo, and Kirby's going to show the quick demo, and then we're going to talk about how we did it.
Yep. And let's insert an image again here. Let's try this one, and let's add another one. The birds, and let's click on submit. So as you can see, here's a cool overlay that shows us the options for scaling the image. So instead of just displaying the options in the actual page, the section is shown on top of the page. So this is done by adding a bit of CSS and JavaScript, and this feature is also part of the XTP. So for the scaling, we have the options here to retain the image, the original size of the image, make it smaller, or change the width to 320 pixels. And for the large option, it will change the image width to 640 pixels. So let's try and pick the small size and proceed. So once you have the XTP, you can customize it and change the width setup for these options. And for Q rules, we're trying to scale the image width, and it will automatically change the image height to ensure that the aspect ratio is maintained. So now that the form has been submitted, so here's the actual form that was submitted. So if we click on that, it will show the actual form. Let me just try to refresh that.
As you can see, everyone, Forms Viewer does work in the modern UI, but we've had some issues over the last day with some Microsoft changes, and I'm not sure, Kirby, if that's what's causing it not to open for you there. I had some problems earlier today.
Yeah.
But
the Forms Viewer logo is not seen.
Go ahead and let's move back to your slides, and let's just talk about what we did.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks like it's downloading it. Missy, thanks for pointing that out. It looks like it's downloading the forms and not actually opening them. It might be a different view. So it's really easy to do this. So Kirby's going to walk you through how to do it. We're going to cover most of the steps. There's a template part, a reusable template part that you can just add to your forms, and then configure it for the image upload. And there's instructions in the XML template part Kirby will show in a moment. And then you have to, obviously, everyone here, I think, has the Forms Viewer app installed. It'll work on-prem as well as online. So I know we have a couple people that are on-prem on the call. And Kirby, you want to walk them through it?
Okay, sure. So here I have the starter form that you can use. We will be providing a package, a webinar package later, so that you can download this form. So here we're going to add or import the XTP in the form. So to do that, you're going to click on that, and let's add the template part and browse for our XTP here. So it's called FV images. So once that's imported, we can now click on the custom control here that we just added. And then, so here we have the controls for the XTP as well as the XTP how-to. So this XTP will create a folder in a document library, and it will also change the size of the image and upload the image in that document library. So for the prerequisites, you have to create a document library named attachments and also create a form library. So this is where the forms will be submitted. So for the usage, we're going to first, so the XTP is now added in our form. So the second one is to inject the Q rules in our form. So to do that, let's just save this. And when you go to the Forms Viewer, let's click on the Upload New Template here. And just drag and drop it here. So here in the design button, it will direct us to the Forms Designer, and this is where we're going to inject Q rules. So as you can see, there's a button here that says Inject Q rules. So once that's injected, you're gonna a pop-up will show, and we can now download this form that is injected with Q rules. So let's just rename that and copy that here and open it again. Okay, so as you can see, the Qdabra rules secondary data source is now added to our form. And the next step that we need to do is to add a rule inside the finished loading node. So here we're going to add run on load. So here we're going to set the run on load node under XTP logic to go. So that way the rules inside this node will be performed. So as you can see, the loading of the CSS and the overlay is also in here. And also we have this determine environment node. So what this do is, the great thing about this rule is that you no longer need to update the data connections to point to your SharePoint site. The form will automatically detect the site where the form is uploaded to. So yeah, so the next one is that we're going to change the temp command. So here we have the temp command node under the XTP logic. So we're going to change this and replace this with Qdabra rules actual command node here, and also the result node here. The reason why we're changing this is because all of the commands in our XTP is pointed to a temporary command field, which is this one. And now that we have the Q rules injected, we need to replace those commands to have the actual command field of Q rules, which is in the Qdabra rule secondary data source. So the next one is that you're going to change this rule inside this delete button, and you're going to copy this one, the value, and paste it inside the formula box. So we're moving this in the function box in order for InfoPath's preceding sibling to work properly and detect the actual repeating group from the main data source. So, okay. And then the next step is to add a submit data connection. So we're going to submit this form to a form library. So you're going to set your document or form library here. And for the file name, we're going to set that to point to the folder name that is under the XTP logic data connection as well. So I'm not going to go through that. And for the next step is to enable the overlay. So the rules, the instructions here are pretty straightforward. You just need to change the IDs for these two buttons. So for the submit button, this will trigger the activation of the overlay. So you have to change the name of the ID here to a meaningful name, and also this second delete button here, or exit button. So the next thing to do is you're going to publish and export the source files, and then you're going to search for the view.xsl file and change the and then add the on-click on attribute inside the input tags for the submit button, and also the on-click off for the button close. So once that's done, you're going to just save the manifest file and save it as a new template, and then you're good to go. You can now upload the form template to Forms Viewer.
I've just pasted. That's how. That's great, Kirby. That's so it basically takes about 10 minutes, right?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So we try to make it as simple as possible, but there's some steps. I've just pasted a link to the anonymous version. Let's show the second demo, Kirby, and let's try to do that one from your phone with the Google Vision API, because I think that's really cool too. If people want to try to click on the link from their desktop, you can click on the link in chat and you can try to fill out the form yourself. It should work fine anonymously, and you can test out the form on your desktop, or you could take that link and send it to your cell phone. Let's try it again and see if that mirroring will behave with the Google form.
Not sure it's. Let's try to reopen that.
And while Kirby is doing this, if anyone has questions on this technique, please feel free to use the chat window there or the question window to add a question. We'll answer those in a minute.
Yeah, it's not detecting the.
Well, let's go ahead and go through the Google. Yeah, let's go ahead and go do the Google one, the other demo form from the desktop as well.
Okay. So here's another form with the bonus. Here we can insert another picture, and let's try this one, this image with a kid. And what this will do is that it will detect the emotions in the picture using the Google Vision. So here you'll see that the emotion is joy. And then for the labels, it detected that it's these objects. So yeah. So if we try to change that.
Where's human in the list? Change it to like you got another good image, right? You got another one that's like the Eiffel Tower.
Yeah, we can try. Yeah, we can try this Eiffel Tower, and
so this is one of the cool enhancements that we've been demoing with Forms Viewer for many years now, and that's the integration with the JSON web services, which Google is, I think, one of the best out there, because and there it is. You can tell it actually got it knows where it is, located on Earth there. Yeah, the Google API is great because it's very accurate. They've done a lot of training, and why would you want to use this? Well, there are some cases where you want to search for an image, or you want to be able to describe the image, and then allow people to tag it. And this is kind of like an automatic tagging approach. So you could essentially provide those tags to people and have the human verify the machine for search purposes. I think that's one of the big benefits. Let's go to the next slide. Actually, let's go up to slide 3, Kirby. And let's just talk again about why this is so important. So let's go back up to slide 3. There we go. Why? Yeah, so to recap, we have this cool technique that has been around for several years. And why are we doing it today? Well, last Friday, I was on a call with Microsoft. We had the BizApp Summit. I was remotely dialed into Microsoft's meeting, and they were talking about Power Apps and InfoPath. And the new word on the street is April 2026 is their goal to stop supporting it. For those of you who are paying attention, it has shifted twice. It shifted from 2023 to the end of 2025, and now it's shifted from December 31st, 2025 to April 1st, 2026. So it's kind of interesting what's going on with Microsoft. They're having a really difficult time. There are lots of companies that are still creating InfoPath forms every day on 365, and there's this Pandora's box element around Power Apps because they just can't. They made this decision to target citizen developers for the Power Apps stuff. Some coding is required. Unfortunately, most of us out there today, are too busy to try to write a lot of code. And unfortunately, most of the people that are making forms on SharePoint are what we call power users or makers. I would count myself in that group. And we're not going to write code. That's just too much work. It's like, don't have time. And the people who write code, they're like, I don't want to do InfoPath, or I don't want to do Power Apps. That's below me. So they've really kind of positioned Power Apps incorrectly. And one great example of that is the image technique. And they were talking about this last Friday. They said, well, we've had this blog out there for 6-7 months now. It shows how to do this technique, but there's code required and nobody can figure it out. So we're going to make that scenario easier in 2019. And I'm thinking to myself, well, we've been doing that in FormsViewer for like 3 or 4 years, no code required. So that's what the kind of what's the word I want to use? The impetus behind this webinar today came from. And they were even talking in the discussion last week about potentially even not stopping people from using InfoPath after 2026. Now, 2026, April 1st, is 7 years away. So it's just kind of interesting how this is kind of morphing with Microsoft. Maybe you have questions about that. Go ahead and ask those. But this is a cool technique because of the fact that you don't need to write code. You can just follow the steps. You can take the images out of your forms to reduce the size of the forms, but also to enable you to access them. You could take the labels that Google provides and you could make those columns so you can actually search for the data. So I think that's about it. Let's go to the last slide, Kirby. And this is all Kirby today. So Kirby did an awesome job of creating these demos and working through these, and actually Kirby created these slides as well. So my hat goes off to you, Kirby. Awesome job on this webinar today. And I just want to briefly mention, I know that everyone on this call, I believe, is a FormsViewer customer. Why are you using FormsViewer today? Because it's low cost. It is a way to retain your InfoPath investment, but it's also a great way to add these new features like we showed today. And then, of course, if you need us, you've got us or your support team. And it looks like we have one question. Will there be an update to InfoPath from Microsoft? Thanks, Pete. Yeah, so I got this question asked today from another customer. I was on a call with Catholic Relief Services, and we do a lot of work with them. And the same question came up. And I don't think so. I think that, you never can say never, right? Because sometimes these things change, and it's quite possible that if Power Apps doesn't get, the other thing is that they screwed up was the pricing. They started charging for Power Apps like literally a month ago, and people were used to having it free, and now they're charging $7 a user per month. And this was actually a major issue for several people in the summit. And of course, the people in the summit are partners, right? So these are people that Microsoft has selected because we've been helping Microsoft with Power Platform adoption. Qdabra is the only company that has 2 testimonials on the Microsoft page. There's 18 total, and we have 2 out of the 18, and no other company has more than 1 except us. So 2 other partners are like, well, we had to ditch Power Apps because as soon as you started charging for it, the customer had to pay 6 figures a month. Apparently, there are a lot of people using it. And so they've really kind of shot themselves in the foot with the pricing as well. And I don't know why they did that. It was just really stupid because obviously they should be trying to generate more adoption. So yeah, so to answer Pete, your first question there, I don't really know. I don't think that they're going to update InfoPath. I'm pretty sure they're not, because the technology is pretty old. I mean, we've kind of done that for them, if you think about it, because we actually are using a whole new technology, the same format, but we've just used new Angular, new JavaScript, all the latest web stuff. And I don't think that they're going to do that. I just think that they're so invested in this this Power Platform stuff, and I think that there's some reasons why they wouldn't technically as well. Obviously, Microsoft has to make money, right? So they have to monetize it, and that's one of the other issues. Is InfoPath is free today online. So second question then, do you think Qdabra will continue to progress the FV design without InfoPath? Yeah, totally. That's great. Thanks for prompting me with that question. We're working really hard to try to get the designer features done. We've been working on the Canvas stuff for quite a while now, and hopefully this year it will be released to you, so you'll be able to design the form layout in the browser without using InfoPath Designer. And we still have a few years left. I don't think the InfoPath Designer will break anytime soon, but we're really focused on that. And then once we're completely off of InfoPath, we'll continue to push the design further based on your needs, right? So we're based, whatever we see from our customers, we're going to actually respond to you. And thanks for the questions, Pete. Does anyone else have any questions? It's great to have you all here. We are going to upload the package. You can download it. You can add it to your forms. You can walk through it. If you need help, it's free. We'll get on a call with you and we'll help you out. We'll spend 30 minutes with you to walk through this. Feel free to just email support@qdabra.com and we can schedule a quick meeting for next week to walk through it. It literally is less than 30 minutes to do this, and I think you'll be really impressed. Kirby, let's switch to the libraries and just show them where the images were uploaded at the end here. We didn't do that. I'm sorry, I must have interrupted you. Do you have audio, Kirby?
So here we have the folder that was created using QRules. So as you can see, the two images that we just uploaded are already here. And if we click on that, you'll see the image.
Scale down too.
Okay. Yeah.
The avocado
I saw that Joe and Misty and Pete also tried uploading. Let me try to open. Oh, because these are, what's it?
That must be Joe. That must be Joe. Because yeah.
For Misty,
let's give them the link to the Google API because they're going to want to do the detection too.
Okay.
Can you paste the link for that in the chat? Because we all want to make sure that Misty's dog gets properly recognized, the varietal and the fact that it's joyful, right? It's a joyful dog.
So I just pasted the link.
The anonymous link. Great.
Yep.
So yeah, this Google stuff is really cool. I mean, it's just cool because it's like your first experience dealing with an artificial intelligent computer algorithm. Maybe not. Maybe you're already an AI. Who knows? So Misty, thanks for uploading the joyful dog. I don't know if Google will get the emotions of the dog, but we hope so. And I wish I knew your dog's name. So another question here, or comment, it would be interesting to develop this into a staff directory solution. So excited to design the browser. Yeah, me too. Great job, Kirby. Okay, great. Thanks for the comments, Misty. And your puppy's name is Macy. Great, way to go. Someday in the future, Google will just tell you what your dog's name is if you forget, right? Because they'll already know everything. Kind of weird, but things are changing very quickly. But one thing that's not changing a whole lot is the the form technology. We're adding new features, but this feature's been in there for a couple of years. So I think that there's still a lot of really good stuff that we need to get the word out on because there's so many things you can do with Forms here without code, and we're here to help you do it. So anyway, I want to thank you all for being in the webinar, but I also want to thank Kirby again because Kirby, this was all you today. You rock. Thank you so much for doing this. Have a great day, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.